Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Going to continue on looking at physical features of the United States. In the last lesson, we looked at major rivers of our country, and today we're going to look at some of the major mountains our country has. Now, if you have not opened up your Unit 2 notes yet, please go back into Google Classroom under the Classwork tab and scroll down until you see the Unit 2 notes under the Notes topic, so that you can fill in the missing notes as we go along. So these are the major mountains that we are going to be examining in today's lesson. There's going to be both mountain ranges and mountain peaks. Now, a mountain range is the big, long group of mountains, and a mountain peak is just one mountain out of that whole mountain range. The first that we're going to look at is the Rocky Mountains. That's the longest mountain range in the United States. And the Rocky Mountains are pretty tall mountains, especially compared to the mountains that we have around us. The mountains we have around us are around 2,000, maybe 3,000 feet high at the tallest. Well, in the Rocky Mountains, you have many peaks that are over 14,000 feet high. So these are very tall mountains, and they're going to look a lot different than these short little rounded mountains that we have around us in Pennsylvania. Now, we said that the Rocky Mountains was the longest mountain range. It does stretch the whole way from New Mexico through Colorado and Wyoming and Montana and even up into Canada. So it's a very tall mountain range. The tallest point is Mount Elbert at 14,440 feet. But Mount Elbert's probably not the most well-known mountain in that mountain range. You have other ones like Long's Peak or Pikes Peak that are more notorious in that mountain range. So let's take a look. Just some of the typical pictures you can see in areas of the Rocky Mountains. Again, I stress, looks a lot different than the mountains that we have around us in Pennsylvania. And there's a reason for that. These Rocky Mountains that are much taller than our mountains are actually much younger than our mountains. The Appalachian Mountains are some of the oldest mountains in the world. So they've been done growing for a long time. And they've actually been wearing down or weathering and eroding over the years to become shorter and rounder. In fact, many years ago, the Appalachian Mountains did look similar to this. They would have looked like these tall, jagged peaks. But weathering and erosion has broken them down over time. So let's look at our Appalachian Mountains. The Appalachian Mountains pass through Pennsylvania. The mountains that are around us are part of that big Appalachian Mountain system. It stretches the whole way from Maine to Georgia in our country. East of the Mississippi River, Mount Mitchell is the highest point within the Appalachian Mountains at 6,684 feet. So our tallest mountains are still not even close to the heights of the Rocky Mountains. So we can see much different looking mountains around us than we saw with the Rocky Mountains. Now out to California. California has a mountain range that's pretty much within its whole state, and that's the Sierra Nevada. And it has many peaks over 14,000 feet high as well. So you're going to have mountains that look similar to the Rocky Mountains there. The highest point in the Sierra Nevada is Mount Whitney at 14,491 feet. Mount Whitney is the tallest mountain in the United States if we don't count Alaska or Hawaii, because Alaska has the tallest mountain in the United States, and we will get to that one. But out of the lower 48 states, or the continental United States, that's all the states but Alaska and Hawaii, Mount Whitney is the tallest out of the continental USA. The Alaska Range, also very tall mountains. Your tallest mountains in the United States are found in Alaska in the Alaska Range. And the highest point is Denali. That's the United States' tallest mountain at 20,310 feet. In the northwest part of the continental USA, we have the Cascade Range. This is a volcanic mountain range. In fact, many of its peaks are volcanoes, and a lot of those volcanoes are still active volcanoes. The highest point in the Cascade Range is the volcano Mount Rainier, and it's again over 14,000 feet high. Then we have mountain peaks, Denali, Denali is the tallest mountain in the United States, 20,310 feet high, located in the Alaska Range. So much taller than even the mountains in the Rocky Mountains. Now, how does that rank compared to some of the other mountains in the world? Mount Everest is the tallest mountain in the world, and that mountain's over 29,000 feet high. So Denali is at 20,000 feet, so it's 9,000 feet less than the tallest mountain in the world still. So back to Mount Whitney. Mount Whitney's then the tallest mountain in the continental, or there's another way, sometimes called contiguous, United States, or lower 48 states. So if we didn't have Denali in Alaska, the highest mountain peak would be Mount Whitney, and that's again in the Sierra Nevada range in California. So Mount Whitney has those tall, jagged peaks. You would have snow near the tops most of the year around. Mount Rainier is that tall mountain in the Cascade Range. It is a stratovolcano. Yes, it is still active. It has not had an eruption in a long time, but it has seismic activity around it, meaning it has the potential to erupt. We've talked before about Mount Rainier and why it's potentially maybe the most dangerous volcano around us is because of its proximity to areas of high population. And lastly, we have Mount St. Helens, also a volcanic mountain, also in the Cascade Range, also just like Mount Rainier in the state of Washington. Mount St. Helens is responsible for the deadliest volcanic eruption in our country's history. In the year 1980, it had a devastating eruption that ended up killing 57 people. It is also still a very active volcano. It hasn't had a full eruption since 1980, but there has been a lot of volcanic activity around Mount St. Helens. Mount St. Helens used to be much taller. During the eruption, there was basically a massive landslide that took the top and part of the side off of Mount St. Helens. And so you can see this is a more recent photograph, another cone with a plume that was coming out of it. That was one of the signs that yes, it is still an active volcano, but it did not have a full-scale eruption. So at this point, we're done with the notes for today. Go back into your Google Classroom and make sure you complete the rest of your assignments. If you have any questions, reach out to me. If not, we'll see you next time.